2022, and this is a special meeting of the Greenberg Central School District Board of Education. I am now going to call the meeting to order. Can I ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next on our agenda is an anticipated adjournment to executive session. Can I please get a motion?
I move that we adjourn to executive session to discuss collective bargaining negotiations pursuant to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law, employment history of particular persons, personnel matters and/or employee records being considered for board action at tonight's meeting or at a future meeting, and any matters deemed confidential by state or federal law, including seeking advice from counsel.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Thank you. We're in executive session at 6:35 p.m. We do not have an anticipated time, but it should not.
Okay, you're live.
Thank you, Steve. Welcome back, everyone. The time is now 8:28 p.m., and we are returning from executive session. Next on our agenda is item C1, which is President's Report. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going ahead. How come the reports are after? Okay, I'm a little confused. Sorry.
They put the meeting approvals ahead of the...
Thank you, yeah. So item B1 is personnel non-instructional items. Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve the non-instructional personnel items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next is B2, personnel instructional items. Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve the instructional personnel items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Next, we have items B3, pupil personnel services items. Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve the board action items, pupil personnel items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Now we'll move on to reports. Item C1, Presidential's Report. I do have to stop and ask, are there any sound issues with regards to the fans, or we're good to go? Everyone can hear?
Yes.
Yes, no? Okay, I'm assuming so. We're going to keep going. With the President's Report, I just want to say, we're ending summer. We've had a couple of special meetings this year in order to take care of some of the very urgent personnel issues that we needed to take care of over the summer and make sure that we're fully staffed to open school for the children in September. The Board of Education Facilities Committee had a walkthrough last week, and some of our community members and parents attended, which was great. One of the things I wanted to share from the walkthrough, and I'll ask trustees if there was anything else they additionally wanted to share, was that the vestibule situation, I got to visually see where the vestibule will go. I thought that was pretty helpful. I did hear from a community member that there were some concerns about our science labs. We did have a brief discussion as well about our science labs and that they really need some upgrading there. And also that there was additional concern. I wrote it down. Let me just check. Does anyone else want to share anything about their experience with the walkthrough that we had?
When we get to the committee reports, I was going to read my notes. So I have a number of notes, but I think maybe you want to do yours first?
Nope, it's okay. Do you want to I'll finish that, and then we'll go to your committee reports notes. I didn't know that you'd have them ready so soon.
I don't have them completely ready, but since school is about to start, I thought I'd at least share my notes, and then I'll put my pictures up in a more formal report at a later time.
Awesome, thank you so much. It'll come to me, the recollection of the second issue, and I'll move on. Many of us received the superintendent's message today, thank you, Dr. Iverson, regarding the lunch and the changes with our lunch situation. As a parent, we've all been very used to having lunch for our children. For the last 2 years, pretty much, it's been covered by the government. But at this point, we need to resume paying for student lunches unless you qualify for free and reduced lunch. And everyone hopefully will fill out the forms whether you qualify or not. You're going to check the guidelines and say, oh, I make more or less than this. But don't let that make your decision with whether or not to fill out the school lunch forms. We need the forms no matter what your family's income situation is. And if your family does not qualify for free or reduced lunch, all families will need to sign up for school books, which is a little bit of a process, or you could send money in with your students. So it's going to be a change that parents really need to get used to, but it is very easy process once you sign up for it, and it's something that we all need to get used to paying that bill, because otherwise then the bill is left with the school district and we end up having to cover that as opposed to other things that the students may need. Does anyone want to give any input or feedback on that? Yes, Trustee Valen?
First of all, apologies if this is duplicate information. I haven't seen the message yet. I know I received it, but I was on my way here. Referring back to the My School Bucks information, on our website, which is greenbergcsd.org, there's an icon at the top labeled food. Just click on that. Through there, there's a link to My School Bucks to sign up, which is where you basically, your child has an account and that's how they organize payment. I also want to point out that the September menus for all schools are already posted on the website. Thank you to Aramark and the business office for making sure that got done. I think that's all I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you. And I did remember the other two issues in the facilities walkthrough, but I might want to ask, I'll mention them to you briefly, but we might want to talk about it a little bit during your committee report. The second issue was about the trees and the fact that some of our trees may need to either be tended to or come down, maybe a little close to the electric wires. And lining. And then the third issue was an inquiry about the water usage at across from ECP. We have a farm there that our community, we had a contract with a town to sell them that land, and then they allow community members to rent plots there and farm. But the water that's there, there's an inquiry from a community member about who pays for that water? Do we pay for that water? Does the town pay for that water? What is our water bill? How high is it?
We do pay for that water. I can say that much.
Okay, so maybe we could talk about it more during your report, but I just want to let you know those three things. It was the trees, the water, and the concern about our science labs. And what else? I talked about the school lunches. Thank you, Trustee Valen, for giving input. I can let you know that the sports up at Woodlands Middle High School, I've heard from several families that are coming up from R.J. Bailey with a lot of interest about the sports in our district. I can tell you the sports are underway with JV and varsity. If your child is interested in sports and you're coming up from R.J. Bailey, modified sports, which is what the middle school plays, do start as the school starts. It doesn't start as early as JV and varsity, and it looks like we're going to have a pretty robust program this year. I did see in the building walkthrough, we saw that our floor is nicely done in the Woodlands Middle High School gym, as well as the fact that the 2 cameras for the huddle system, which is the sports system that the athletes use to advertise their skills. Those cameras are up in the gym, which is amazing and excellent as well. So there's a lot of work that was done this summer. And lastly, I'm going to encourage everyone to please join your PTAs so you can support your local schools, support your local students. Whether or not you have a student, you can get a PTA membership. And those are monies that go to additional programming, enrichment programming, supporting our students and our staff, and they're managed by volunteers. The superintendent is going to have her Superintendent's Day coming up Wednesday and Thursday. She has a pretty robust program for the staff to return to school and to get ready to do this work for our students. Thank you for your time. Now I'm going to move on to committee reports. And I know we have one from the Facilities Committee. Trustee Werner?
Sure. Okay, as I stated, this is not a formal report. These are just my notes from the facilities tour, which we conduct each year prior to the opening of school to make sure that things are in good condition for our students' return. So the board met on 8/25 at 10 a.m. We toured the schools. We started at Woodlands, and then we moved from school to school with a small school bus, walking around and being greeted by local administrators and with our facilities director with us. Basically, overall, you know, the shrubs have been trimmed, the floors look good, the classrooms are clean, the fire extinguishers appear to have been inspected. There are some overall questions about what we do for top floor exit strategies. If there's a danger of a fire, how do you get out? Should there be exit ladders as opposed to waiting for the fire truck to bring its ladder up? But by and large, things look good. Things are about ready. Then I have notes as we went from school to school. Now, the first school, Woodlands, we convened as a board meeting because we had a quorum. After that, it dropped down to being just a Finance and Facilities Committee meeting. So notes from Woodlands. You talked about vestibule construction already, so you know that we got approval and we have financing for a new security vestibule out in the front of Woodlands here to replace the guard booth that we have in here and control entrance to the school. We were going to do some construction prior to the opening of school. That's off the table now. We're going to try and get, when all the equivalent of parts coming in, all the necessary materials have arrived, we're going to try and complete the construction this fall. We will route around it. So that means that at certain points in time, we will have students exiting the buildings in other ways. So the large buses will stay where they are during those times, and students will be routed out and around and through the art wing and come out those doors, and the large buses and the small buses will come around to the gym entrance. And so that's pretty much, we've figured out how to do that, and that's on schedule for the fall. Then music room, things have been swapped around in certain places. There's a music room now where the old art room was here in this front hallway. The principal suite has moved into the place of the guidance office, and the guidance office has now moved into the hallway. If you walk down the entranceway to the WISE room, turn left, walk down a few doors, and it's on the left-hand side. So people have moved around a little bit. The AC in the fitness center, we're happy to report, is working well, keeping everybody cool. The new gym floor, I think you mentioned. You already mentioned that the huddle is in place. We did the asbestos removal underneath the gym floor, and we have a brand new large gym floor, so we're really happy with that. There was a suggestion from a parent when we looked at the cafeteria. We have a hand sanitizer when you walk in and collect your money, but not after you collected the money, so we should put another one on the inside of the cafeteria. Other than that, you talked about the science labs needing an upgrade. The energy performance contract that we're working on right now from Con Ed Solutions will include restoring the gas lines to the various schools, and that will also have an effect on the science labs. So we need to do some upgrades on the science labs, but the gas supply is something that may fall under that. So that's what I have for Woodlands. ECP. We had trouble with bees this summer. The bees are gone. There were multiple visits from the pest control folks, and they took care of it. The old timbers that were rotting out, they've taken them out. The new timbers did not arrive, so we have an area where new timbers are going to be installed. The storage shed roof is supposed to be redone. That's a small job because it's a small storage shed, but that had not happened yet. We need to clear items in front of a ventilation fan in one classroom. That's just taking things off a shelf. We should upgrade the fence in the back of the main play area. There's fencing there, but it's old-fashioned fencing and probably not the best. The exterior steps have been repaired and fixed in the area around the service area around where the people come in and put in the fuel oil. That looks better. It's wider. We need a rain barrel or a planter for a drainage area in one of the downspouts in front that we looked at last year. Other than that, things look generally good. On to R.J. Bailey. The big news is, of course, that we went for our asbestos clean out in the auditorium. So the auditorium now no longer has any seats in it, or any tile, or any rugs. It's a flat cement floor. So now we're ready to do the construction job. And now we're waiting for approval from NYSED for that. But we've taken care of the asbestos. We've taken care of the lead paint problem. So that's good. The gym has a new floor. It looks beautiful. It's serviceable everywhere. There's not a soft spot anywhere anymore. We're waiting on new green wall pads to come in for the walls of the gym. There are suggestions for added from the tour, the people tour on the tour for new sources of tennis balls. We put tennis balls on the legs of students' chairs so that we don't scuff up the floor. So apparently in White Plains there's another source of tennis balls that we can get as donations. In terms of plantings, there are plantings along the car wash fence. It looks like there are actual bushes finally filling out in the spots that are supposed to be along that car wash fence. So that's a good thing that we've been pushing on for the last couple of years. Lee F. Jackson. Well, we did a large asbestos removal project in the hallway, and so the hallway tiles have new blue and white tiles. It looks good. It's clean. It's shiny. It adds to the whole atmosphere of, Lee F. Jackson is kind of Wonderland, right? So we've got that down. They were shampooing all the rugs and drying them out in the gymnasium and putting them back into the classrooms. The rugs have been gone due to COVID, and now we feel like we can put them back. The bottle cap mural has moved to a different part of the school on the outside. It's a nice picture of a tree. If you get up close to it, you realize that it's made out of bottle caps. The new desks. All the kindergarten classes have new desks, and each of them are of a particular color. So one room will have green desks, and another room will have orange desks, another room will have blue desks, and so on and so forth. And so students it's modular, right? So students can be apart. If we have some problem, we need students to be apart from each other, or you can push them together in the way that the old tables that the first graders still have are working things. So we expect that a year from now, we'll probably do the same thing with the first grade classes. And that's as much as I have on Lee F. Jackson. Then lastly, that's Highview. A lot of trees have been cut around the edges of the playgrounds all the way around. There were some problems with some branches dropping down, and so for safety purposes, we took care of that. I should mention that on the Warburg campus, there was a large ash tree that actually was used as a power pole. And now we've kind of topped that tree, and that's on its way out in stages. So that's probably what you're thinking about. We mentioned that as we drove the bus past that part of the Warburg campus. There's new drainage on the north, returning to Highview. There's new drainage on the north side of the Highview playground. There was a little area that would kind of turn into an ice skating rink that needed some help, and so they put an extra drain in there. They're receiving the side entrance ramp to the nurse's office. You may remember that during COVID, we wanted to make sure that if a child had COVID, they'd go to the nurse's office, and then instead of walking out to the building, there's a side entrance with a steep ramp that takes you out to the front of the building without you walking through the rest of the building. Well, those steps had kind of fallen apart, so as we were there, they were busy taking those up and had an earth mover, and they were putting in a new ramp for that. We need to remove a pile of brush near the Harvard, the upper driveway in the back. That's not a major issue. The elevator, they report, works now. They need to investigate the overgrown, there's a sort of an overgrown area that used to be a public park in the back of Highview, and nobody has done anything with it for years and years, and it's kind of grown up. We need to take a look at that and see if, is it part of our property? Should we be doing anything about it? That's about it. So again, I'm pretty happy that the schools look like they're about ready to open. And the next Finance and Facilities Committee meeting has been rescheduled to the 14th, Wednesday the 14th of September at 6:30 p.m. If you wish to rejoin the Finance and Facilities Committee, if you were on last year, we have to renew that membership every year. So we'll put your name on an agenda item on a board agenda. But send me an email. I'm dwarner@greenbergcsd.org, dwarner@greenbergcsd.org, letting me know that you want to rejoin the Finance and Facilities Committee. If you are new and also want to join, you are welcome to do so. Please send me an email. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Warner. And that committee is now a committee of the board. So
That is correct.
is this meeting in person on the 14th or virtual?
As far as I know, it has to be in person unless they extend the ability to make it virtual. And that seems to happen incrementally on a kind of monthly basis. I haven't seen anything that extends it out as far as the 14th. Ivy, do you know anything that I don't know?
Remember the date on the last one.
I'm sorry, Mr. Warner, can you repeat the question?
Sure. The question was, are we allowed to have a full remote Finance and Facilities Committee meeting, or do we need to have an in-person presence? What's happened in the past is about every month or so, the governor will extend the ability for us to have full remote meetings, and he seems to happen incrementally. And as far as I know, it hasn't extended out to September. Do you know anything about that?
I believe it was extended out to September, but I don't remember the date. The
In
exact
September,
date
so
in
we have to
September.
figure out whether it's before the 14th.
I
Stay
have here
tuned.
the date September.
I will have I will say again.
The date is September 12th. So.
So,
Just
all right.
2
So
days
it looks
shy.
like we have to have at least an in-person presence. Some people may be able to join remotely if that's what they prefer to do. That's what I'm going to shoot for.
And tentatively, will it be here at Woodlands or?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other questions? I only have one more question, which is, I got a question from a parent about a car or the top of a car parked on the left side of the building.
Are you talking about Highview?
At Highview, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay, so I'm not sure where the border of our property between us and Webb School is. So there's kind of the upper driveway and the lower driveway. The upper driveway is the one that goes all the way out to Harvard and that we use on an emergency basis and have small buses pull in. The lower driveway empties out into the back of the Webb School, and we have parked our trash receptacles and a fence and a collapsible partition to close that off as much as possible. And that, I'm not sure where our property line ends and the other person's property line begins. If it's on the Webb School side, we leave it alone. If it's on our side, then we can try and figure out what to do about it.
Okay, thank you, David. Thank you, Trustee Warner. Any other committee reports? I know we do have our Education and Wellness Committee. We don't have a chair for that. We'll have to select one at our first meeting coming up in September. But as of now, it is for September 22nd, the first meeting at 6:30, at the time 6:30 p.m. And I can't remember if that will be virtual or in person either. Is it in person? In person here? Here, okay, I'll say that again. Education and Wellness Committee on September 22nd, which is, I believe, a Wednesday? No, Thursday? Thursday at 6:30 p.m. here at Woodlands Middle High School. Are there any other committee reports or dates? Yes, Trustee Valen?
I will probably have more detailed information next week, but I just wanted to give a heads up that the Audit Committee, which meets 5 to 7 times a year sporadically, We'll be seeking 2 public members this year. If you would like more information or to indicate your interest, you can email me at cvallin@greenbergcsd.org. C, V as in Victor, ALIN @greenbergcsd.org. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Trustee Vallon. Any other committee reports? No? Okay, we're moving on to item, we've done D and E and F. So now we have closing items, G. G1, new business. Any new business?
I'll just quickly mention that at the last meeting, I did talk about a back-to-school barbecue. That's not going to be happening. So if anybody was planning to show up at Yosemite on Sunday, we won't be there.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Thomas. Are there any other questions, concerns, anything? Yes, Trustee Vallon?
Sorry, you indicated earlier about the athletics. I just want to point out that modified or the middle school athletics does begin when school begins, but actually not until September 12th. So signups are happening now, but the actual practices don't begin until September 12th. You can email Mr. McCoy, Michael McCoy, McCoy @greenbergcsd.org if you need more information. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Vallon. And if there's no other new business, the only thing I did want to mention, I'm hoping admin will pick up to clarify, but if any parents have any questions about Chromebooks, who should they contact and where?
Yes, if any parent has a question about Chromebooks, they should contact David Lease, our Director of Technology, and his email is dlease, L-E-I-S, @greenbergcsd.org. That's dlease, L-E-I-S, @greenbergcsd.org. He is our new Director of Technology, and he can answer your questions directly via email. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Iverson. And hearing no other new business, I would love a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn this meeting.
It's been properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned 8:54 p.m. Thank you, and see you when school opens.